He who laugh last, laugh best, has been apprehended by the Efcc, known as Bobrisky. Is he laughing in the Efcc custody right now? We do not know. In my opinion, I think that Bobrisky is ahead of God, God the creator of heaven and earth. So whenever God is trying to save Bobrisky from any problem, Bobrisky is always a step ahead to cause another problem before God creates a safety passage for him. Let us dive into today's subject about Bobrisky, the release of Very Dark Man, and the statement from Ketenshaw. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, like and share, and enjoy today's conversation. Welcome to the Man of Thought, aka the Villain of Truth, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria. A recent news everybody have been hearing, and it has been going viral, that Bobrisky has been apprehended when he was trying to go to Canada. Some people said he was trying to move to London, and he was being apprehended in the plane, trying to escape the security, and it's not a funny thing. This individual had every opportunity to have left the country and being quiet and being silent. But no matter what is going on, Bobrisky finds his way to always go into problem. And at this junction, I cannot believe Bobrisky have a godfather. And if he does, what kind of godfather that does not know the kind of child he wants to adopt? This adoption is a terrible one. Earlier today, Very Dark Man was being yesterday, which was 31st of October, Very Dark Man was remanded by the police or detained. And then he went to court today. He was sent to court today, so they expect that he will be in jail. And then Bobrisky posted on the platform saying that he who laugh last, laugh best. And sometimes when people make this kind of comment, I ask myself, where are these people actually coming from? How do you trust such a comment or such a parable or such a proverb that he who laugh last, laugh best? No, everyone have their moments in life to laugh. So laughing would never stop. It's just part of the emotions of men. But you see, the Bible said something that when God is fighting for you and you see your enemies going through a tough time, it's better not to rejoice, or else you most likely will be falling prey to that particular thing. And so, as Bobrisky decides to laugh at Very Dark Man, regardless of the fact that God might have interest in saving Bobrisky, then God had to restrain himself from saving by sending a passenger to him who they call Isaac Fayose. Isaac Fayose, the man who used to shine his eye every single time whenever he speaks on Instagram. Well, the individual began to snap Bobrisky, and before you know, from TikTok to Instagram, from Instagram, blah blah blah. And I think that this particular generation, we are so ignorant of the fact that whatever we are posting on social media, the law enforcement and a lot of people are watching us, including the search engine, including the platform at which you are using to post. And this is the reason why, if you post a particular kind of maybe nudated pictures on maybe YouTube, they are going to bring it down before you say Jack Robinson. The same way when you make some comments, the algorithm are selecting these things. The machine is watching you, the people are watching you, and the law enforcement are watching you at the same time. And so when Isaac Fayose was not patient enough after snapping, he just want to prove. And before we know, he cobalized Bobrisky. Who knows his intention? Maybe he's just been excited, or maybe he doesn't want Bobrisky to leave, or just want to expose Bobrisky, or perhaps he's thinking that Bobrisky is trying to also escape, and in his perception is like, let me just say I snapped during the time Bobrisky was escaping. But based off his statements in the past, it's like he had the best interest of Bobrisky at heart, but maybe the joy of seeing his mother, a mommy of Lagos, he could not control it. And then the Efcc immediately started cracking down on Bobrisky, and before you know, Bobrisky tried to evade. The worst thing about all this situation was the pain they inflicted on Bobrisky, and that is where I felt like, oh, this is out of hand. When you go after somebody to arrest someone such as Bobrisky, or as a man or something like that, and you are about 4 or 5, the highest thing you can do is to slowly bring the person down, hold the person, and then put handcuff in the person's hand. But the Efcc, we have seen them assaulting people. There was a video where Efcc were assaulting a lady in the hotel. So I wasn't surprised seeing them beating up Bobrisky. And then they saw the injury on Bobrisky's hand. And it's kind of funny how Bobrisky was, regardless of every assault and the rest, he was able to have his phone and post and says, Nigeria, please help me. They've injured me. They do this and all of that. To me, honestly, I sympathize with Bobrisky, and I think that this has gone too far. And I'm not saying they are not supposed to arrest Bobrisky. Yes, if you lay false allegation on an institution that you gave them 50 million bribery and it's changing the reputation. We know Nigerians always see Efcc as one of the most incompetent people ever since the situation of Yaya Bello and many others. But now when it comes to the idea of how Bobrisky is now being involved in this situation, if you lay false allegation on them, now it proves as if maybe you guys really collect the money and then you guys want to clarify your name from that particular stuff. But EFCC do not have the right to arrest Bobrisky for laying false allegation. That should be the work of the police. But I think the ground EFCC is coming from now is that the charges we have dropped against you, now we want to put out the charge back on you. And this is where it looks funny. And please tell me if I'm wrong, if you're a lawyer who understands a little bit about the law. Somebody withdrew a charge and then they charge you for something else and saying you abused the currency and you went to jail for that particular stuff. Everybody might say, okay, he went to the parlor and went to enjoy himself for a while. And how come do we get to a situation where you have to put back that charges on that person and you say that is the ground at which you are arresting the person on? This simply shows that the EFCC has a bad intentions, and this is not about justice. This is about revenge. This is about anger. And if care is not taken, I do not see Bobrisky escaping, because I think that he has been dealt with in several ways. Maybe he's self-inflicting this, but I think the institution of the law enforcement is set in place to even save us sometimes from ourselves. But the EFCC, they are totally, I think their incompetency is legendary. They are one of the most incompetent people we have in this generation as law enforcement. And all kinds of excuses is what they give when it comes to the idea of them going after certain individuals. Now, trust me, I think at the end of the day, some of the social media people who are saying, oh, go after Bobrisky and go after Bobrisky, just like all of us, including me myself, who have been saying this, I think at this junction we just need to start observing and start looking at things in depth. Because when things have gone out of hand and it has become stuff of anger, then it doesn't make any sense anymore. If the law enforcement are trying to abuse somebody, then we should understand that that person has a right, and it can be any one of us. With that being said, I wish Bobrisky good luck. And I wish the Godfather would have a solution, perhaps if he does, or she does have one. And I just think Bobrisky, there's something spiritually, mentally wrong. Well, when somebody does not identify or know themselves for who they actually are, you should know something is mentally wrong somewhere. But just because we can't say it because it's YouTube space, let's keep our mouth silent and keep watching. With that being said, glory be unto God. Very Dark Man has been released. And it is a great news. I said a lot of things about Very Dark Man. I said, oh, this guy will most likely be going to prison. I said a lot of things, and I said there is going to be a lot of setup and the rest of it. And I think Very Dark Man needs to grow from this particular stage. Yes, immediately it was being released. I think he made a video about those 14-year-old, 13-year-old children who have been arraigned for treason. That's a different thing coming from our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bulaba. Well, lastly, let me just touch on the subject, the one of Ketenshaw. People were saying Ketenshaw made a statement when a lady decided to say that she would prefer to be in a relationship with a Yahoo boy than to be in a relationship with a 9-to-5 boy or blue worker. And then Ketenshaw said, oh, this person, for you making the statement, this is how guys might go use you for ritual. And people are saying Ketenshaw was not supposed to say that. I don't know, sometimes we are in this generation where we want to tell people exactly what to say and what they are not ought to say. And because everything we need to look morally correct, or we need to be diplomatic in the things we do. This is the reason why I hate many institutions and I see most education as indoctrination, because you cannot tell me how to speak. I can be held responsible for what I say, but you can't criticize whatever I decide to say, perhaps if what I'm saying is the truth. And most of us know this is truth, but all of us, we are trying to do, a lot of people, not all of us actually, a lot of people are trying to do, oh, you are not supposed to say this. Just because I tend to be a public figure does not mean I can express my thoughts. And what she's saying is not far from the truth. Why would the words of my mouth be so harsh when somebody is saying something that looks very ridiculous? and we have to call that person out. And you think that, oh, because somebody tends to be a celebrity, they just have to keep mute every single time, or they have to look for one fine word, they have to beautify the statement that comes out of their mouth, they have to paint it, they have to do makeup so it sounds palatable to our ears. No, we have to start telling ourselves the truth. And one of the truth is what Kitensho says. And anyone who don't like it, do something about it. With that being said, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, like and share. Up Kitensho, continuing what you're doing. Very dark man. I hope one day I'll be able to talk to him, or we would be able to relate and work things out. And for the Bobrisky issue, I think Nigerians, we don't even know when it comes to the idea of Bobrisky what people should say. But what do you think, my audience, what do you think that could be done in the situation of Bobrisky that would actually liberate him? Please, if you think of anything nice, let me know in the comment section. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Adios amigos.